White. Welcome to Jimmy White. I'm so excited to have you on the show. Big fan.
Thank you.
There's lots of big fans here too. How old were you? Do you know when you first picked up?
I was about 12 when I first started playing. I started playing pool first. I used to wait for my dad in a pub in Balham. It was a Friday afternoon to spend with him. And I played pool for a year before I played snooker.
And how soon did you know you were good at it?
Pretty soon, really. When I was 13, I was winning sort of money matches. Not the greatest upbringing. A bit misspent youth, but we used to play for money.
What sort? I mean, how much money are we talking?
Well, when I was sort of 13, 14, we'd be playing for 100 quid a set, and then 50.
100 quid a set?
Yeah, which is a lot of money now. And then we'd go up and down the country, me and Tony Mio. I mean, there's no internet in them days, so no one knew who he was. So we used to go and play the best players, and everyone used to back them.
You look so innocent there as well.
Yeah, but we travelled up and down the country for about 3 years playing everybody for money.
Presumably, though, you are going to come up against some, you know, pretty tough guys.
Yeah.
Who are not going to like the fact that you're taking their money.
No,
and
no.
what happens then?
Well, a few times we was in a few situations where we was winning people's money, and a few times we just left sort of by the exit, left all the money there because it wasn't safe. And
when did you make the decision that actually you could make money from it legitimately, that you could turn professional?
Well, to be professional in them days, you had to win the English Amateur Championships, and I won that at 16. And I waited for 3 years to go to Australia to win the World Amateur Championships. So I turned professional when I was 18, but about 16 I knew that that was what I wanted to do.
And who came up with the nickname The Whirlwind?
Well, you had Hurricane Higgins, and you had Tornado Drago, and mine was Whirlwind. Just journalists made them up, sports journalists.
And part of the reason for that was that you didn't hang about.
No.
You were fast.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever try and say to you, you need to be more conservative?
All the time I was getting people to say, you know, you'll win so much more if you just calmed it down a bit. But that was the way I loved playing. I still play that way now.
You did do something that was incredibly rare, and that was score a 147 in a World Championship. So bearing in mind, we are talking about 1992, where the average salary was £15,000 a year and you could buy a house for £50,000.
134. £100,000 for Jimmy White if he can knock the pink and black in. Quite magnificent, Jimmy White.
Thank you.
Very, very impressive for its rarity as well. So that was the first round of the World Championships against Tony Drago, who wants to congratulate you along with everybody else. Everyone's really chuffed for you.
Give me a big bear hug, yeah. It was actually 147,000 and 14,000 for the highest break, so it was 161, and I got to the final, so I got 90,000 for getting to the final. So even though I lost that final, I earned the most money that week. But I'd swap it for a World Championship.
The World Championships is obviously the most popular event, the biggest audiences, the most famous, and you reached the final 6 times. The last time you were in the final,
yeah,
which was 1994, you're up against Stephen Hendry, and that was incredibly close, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was 17 each, and I'd got 20 odd. He'd got in the balls, he'd missed, and he left me a perfect situation to win the match and win the title. And I potted about 14, and I just threw my cue at the black and I missed it, and he cleared up.
And how do you recover from that?
Well, you know, it's a sport, you know. Obviously, I'm disappointed, and you know that one will, you know, it's always been hard to swallow. But you know, I enjoyed playing. I went on next year and won a tournament. You know, just the World Championships. I haven't been able to get there yet.
In between those 2 finals that you talk about where you nearly won it, in 1993, Hendry absolutely wiped the floor with you.
Yeah.
Now, what happened before that final?
Well, my preparation for that tournament wasn't my best, and I don't actually know how I got to the final, so, you know, to get 5 frames off him was quite a feat at the time.
When you say your preparation wasn't the best, I mean, you mean kind of really, really not the best, like almost the worst.
I was in Jamaica a month before, and I stayed on for an extra week. You know, a bit selfish, really. I didn't really prepare properly.
What were you doing in Jamaica, Jimmy?
Having fun.
Right. What was your idea of having fun? What did you need for an evening to be fantastic?
Well, it's well documented. You know, I was always a big drinker, and I sort of dabbled in a bit of cocaine to carry on drinking, and I sort of hid this for about 15 years from my close friends, my family. I'm a bit ashamed that I'd done that, you know, and I apologise for my supporters for doing that, you know, because I would have won probably 10 world championships.
10, do you think so?
Well, I was that good, not being flash, you know. I was that good, especially early days. But I took that path. I'm not proud of it. And if anyone's about to ever take cocaine, just don't, because it can ruin your life.
And that must have, I mean, not just have an effect on your career, but it's got to have had an effect on your marriage, on your family life, on your kids.
Well, I hid it very well. Coming from a snooker, we tend to be a bit tricky, you know. I didn't do it at home, so as soon as I was out on the road doing exhibitions, you know, gambling, that was when I used to take it.
Was there not drug testing, though, within snooker?
Well, there was drug testing, but with cocaine, if you, I think it's like 7 days and it's out your system. So, you know, snooker was always my first love, even though I had this terrible addiction. I used to make sure that I had 2 weeks clean before I would play.
And it's so interesting, though, you say, I apologise to my fans, because it kind of makes me think that winning wasn't about winning for you. It was about winning for the fans, actually.
Well, you know, I had great support. I've still got great support, but I did still give 100%. You know, I would, like, spend, you know, 50 hours a week on the practice table, and I would get myself ready. And I did win 10 ranking tournaments and 46 invitation tournaments. Sounding a bit flash now. So, you know, I'd done my bit, and I've always had a good relationship with the fans because I've always met the fans.
Do you think you're still capable of winning the World Championships?
Snooker is, you know, each frame is all about 10 minutes, and on my top game I can still win. I still beat these guys occasionally, but it's keeping it going for 2 weeks. And why I've still got the game in the practice table and the odd time in the match, I'll keep going for it.
Well, you were in an era of you know, incredibly well-known names. And snooker was massive, but so were the people playing it. So to get the likes of yourself in the same room as Steve Davis, Dennis Taylor, Willie Thorne, Tony Drago, Terry Griffiths, I mean, that would be really magical, wouldn't it? You would think, that's got to be something that you will never, never forget. And indeed, you wouldn't.
It's the Rumford Rap. Rumford Rap. Open up your
Say again, Miles.
give some of that. Whether you're a paddy or a tummy or a jump or a jam, whether you're yellow, green, brown, blue, pink or black, from Brixton, Bow on north with a Watford Gap, you can do the Rumford Rap.
Look at Jimmy. Chaz and Dave with the Romford Rap. But I think my favourite part of that whole video is that shot of you looking...
What am I doing here?
Exactly.
Well, Snooker Loopy was out before, which got to #6 in the charts, which was massive. And Barry Earn, you see the pound note signs, and he followed up with the Romford Rap, which I think sold about 10 singles. That's not for me, no.
Right, it's time to...